After creating your graph, it's time to analyze and interpret exactly what this graph is telling you. One way to do that is to calculate the slope of your line of best fit. Now, one thing I want you to keep in mind, everybody's line of best fit looks a little bit differently, but we're all going to get to the same general ending. And when we're calculating slope, I don't care about the points from the data table. I only care about what is happening on my trend line. So step one, identify 2 points. The easiest way is to find 2 locations where your line of best fit neatly intersects the grid boxes. I've identified 2 points here on my graph. The second step is to label your coordinates. Remember, your coordinates are always x, y. So my 2 coordinates have been labeled. After I've labeled my coordinates, now I can start to look at my equation. You know the equation for slope as rise over run. We can expand upon that and now say that the change in y over the change in x. This triangle has a fancy name, delta. Delta is a fancier way of saying the change in. So rise is also the same as delta y, or the change in y. Run is the same as delta x, or the change in x. We can expand upon this even further and create another equation. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. We have 2 data points. We have 2 x's. We have 2 y's. But it's very important to make sure that you're identifying them as the correct 1 or 2. When we're reading a graph, we always go from left to right. Whichever data point is on the left, that would be your 1's. So that means 15 would be x1, 2.6 would be y1. Since this data point's over on the right, those would be my 2's. x2 would be 35, y2 would be 3.6. Now that we know our 1's and 2's, we can plug them in. y2 minus y1, so 3.6 minus 2.6. On the denominator, x2 minus x1. We can go out and we can do the math, and we find that we would have 1 over 20. After we have done those calculations, now we need to start worrying about the units. We can notice that the units on the x and the y are both centimeters. So we need to be rather specific for our units. So we have that 1 centimeter in the numerator, but I'm gonna add in the word diameter. So I know that this is talking about the diameter distance. The denominator, the unit is centimeters, but I'm going to be more specific and say height. Remember, my numerator is the y's, my denominator is the x's. So I use my y unit on the top, my x unit on the bottom. Here within science, we want our denominator to be 1. It just makes our explanations easier. So 1 divided by 20 is 0.05. Those units are still there, so we can't forget about them. So centimeter diameter per centimeter height. Because my denominator is 1, I don't have to put that 1 there. You're more than welcome to also write it as 0.05 centimeter diameter over 1 centimeter height. What this slope tells me is that for 1 centimeter that we increase the height, that diameter will increase 0.05 centimeters. This is my analysis, determining my slope. Your interpretation is where you are using that slope and putting it into a sentence.